Ellen, the 9-year-old, walked down the streets of Portland, Maine, one bright morning when she saw a piece of paper, a scrap of paper laying on the sidewalk just in front of her. She ran, picked it up, and immediately started reading. And by the time she had finished reading, terror had consumed her face. She took off running down the street towards her home, burst through the door, and immediately started gathering all the members of the family. And that once they were in one room, she started reading the story in that scrap of paper. The family members could sense the fear and terror in her voice. As she slowly read a story written by someone in England, affirming the fact that within a decade or so, Jesus would return for a second time to earth. Religion was such an important part of Ellen's life that for the next 4 days, she was unable to go to sleep. And this afternoon, I would like to speak to you for a few minutes about the importance or the vitality of religion in the life of Ellen G. White, because I think we really can't understand her without understanding the world she came into and how the role that religion played in that world. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I provided for you a couple of maps of Portland. The first one up here at the top is one from the 1830s, and it shows this was a town of about 10,000 people, and it was basically divided into 3 sectors. The most important sector is the port or the harbor, which is right at the center of town, and then you have wealthy people living on the north side of town, and then you have the working class living on the south side of town. The second map is basically the same thing, only you can tell this is 30 years later that the town has grown considerably. The wealthy are up here and the poor are in this section of town, the south side of town. And what I want to stress is that religion in this world was central to everything. Most people were Protestants. They went to church weekly, and the nation was passing through what we call, or what historians call, the Second Great Awakening, where evangelists and camp meetings appeared regularly, and people attended these meetings with a lot of enthusiasm and desire to be part of it. So I'm talking about 3 things that are crucial in the life of Ellen White in Portland, Maine. The first one I've already mentioned is that religion sits at the core of the values that people have in this period of time. The second thing I want to stress is that the accessibility of the Bible. For most of the Christian era, the Bible was a document that only a few males could read. Basically, because if you wanted a copy, you would have to sit down and make a copy by hand. It was only till the 16th century that you had the invention of the printing press. But even then, producing a printed copy of the Bible took a lot of expense, and very few people had access to it. And it's only in the 19th century, in the days of Ellen White, that the Bible societies appear, especially in England and in America. And so by the time Ellen is a child walking down the street in Portland, the Bible has become a central feature of her life. Now, anyone can read it, including little girls like Ellen. Now, the third element I want to stress is this question of the role that women played in society. In the 19th century, for most of the generations prior to the birth of Ellen, there was what we today call the cult of domesticity. That is, it was believed that women were assigned to a specific sphere in the society. And that was the home, the kitchen, and the bedroom. It was taught openly in the days that Ellen grew up as a little girl and became a teenager, that the best contribution that a female could make to society was to raise good citizens. That was the contribution that she could make. But it's also in this time when Ellen is walking through the streets of Portland that factories are popping up all over New England, and the role of females changed dramatically. It is now possible for a young lady to leave the farm, leave the domestic sphere if she lives in the city, and work and provide a wage for the family. So thousands and thousands of little girls flooded into factories that were popping up all over New England, giving women a new liberty that they had never had before. The factory work was hard and grueling, but when the factory work stopped, they had the freedom to do many things that they hadn't been able to do before. And scholars have discovered that the evangelistic meetings of the age were attended mostly by women. 75% of the people at the camp meetings, of the people going to evangelistic, were women. So these three elements, that is, the importance of religion, the availability of the Bible, and the changing role of women in the larger society, will play a crucial role in the life of this little girl, which will become Ellen G. White. Thank you.